Drug-induced psychosis. Do you know what it is? Have you ever experienced paranoia? Where you think things are happening in your head whilst you're on drugs, whilst you've taken coke or whatever you poison, and you start to believe things going on in your head. I've been there. Almost cost me my life on so many occasions. Let me tell you. I'm going to talk about a few psychotic episodes I experienced. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to abbreviate around them and try and make you understand how severe this can get. Now, on 3 separate occasions, and there's probably been about 30, and that's me being kind to myself. On 3 occasions, I'm going to talk about 3 that stick out in my mind. So I convinced myself. I had people, some sort of gang, that were coming for me. I believed them thoughts in my head. I've been off my head on the packet for hours, for days. I think 3 days I'd been awake. I was believing these thoughts in my head, and these thoughts in my head were telling me that the tattoos I had there on my fingers, which are no longer there anymore, on both sides of my hands, so on 8 fingers, was initials. Initials, family members' names. Nothing to give me any valid reason to do what I did. Like I said, they're not there anymore. Now, I can't go into too much detail, but I used something sharp and I removed them. I scratched them out, finger by finger. It hurt, as you can imagine, but I got them gone. They disappeared. I then went out to the streets. I had something in my hand. I was feared for my life. And I was challenged by a friend who seen me and took me to hospital. On this occasion, they didn't section me. Don't know why. You tell me. They said I was of sane mentality, probably due to the time it took to come round and all the hours sat waiting in A&E. Now, on another occasion, I convinced myself, once again, some sort of gang were out to try and end my life. I was with my mum in a car. I jumped into a boot of a car whilst the car was moving. I was hiding in the back of the car. Now, she pulled up at the doctor's surgery. She got me a GP appointment. I needed to be seen and urgent. All sorts of things were going through my head. I was convinced these things were happening. So, she took me to the doctors. When we got to the doctors, I jumped out the car. I raced through the doctors. Into the doctor's surgery, jumped over the reception area where there was a big glass reception area. It was high, 12 foot. I managed to scale over it. You can imagine patients waiting in there, elderly women, men, were very scared. They didn't have a clue what was going on. Neither did I. I kept trying to go for the phone and phone the police. I believe somebody was out to get me. I was challenged by a doctor that was working in there. He locked me in a room. There was an altercation. Unfortunately, he was assaulted by me. I was then thrown to the floor by a patient and pinned down. I managed to break my way free again. I then tried to escape in my mum's car, tried to drive the car off. Police attended this day. It took many police. I think 13 police, unlucky for some. They got the legs restraints on me. And they sectioned me this time. I was sectioned. Now, on a third time, I believed people had lasers on us. Bang, bang, bang. And I thought, once again, they were out to take my life. I believed these thoughts in my head again. My mum was once again with me on this time. The poor woman, the things she's been through. That's for another story. Now, once again, I acted on these thoughts in my head, should I say, and acted in the best interest of us, should I say. I barricaded doors up, locked us in the flat, moved us into a different room. Convinced myself people were out to get me. This was severe psychosis. Once again, my mum rang the police for my own safety. They attended. Now this time in particular, it took a hell of a long time for them police to get me. I locked myself in bathrooms. I smashed my way through the bathroom into my bedroom. Made a big hole through the wall. A big hole through the wall. Barricaded up doors. In the end, obviously, the police did get me. My head ended up getting smashed off a sink. I was told I'd never see again in that eye. I do see in that eye, but not great sight. On this occasion, I was once again put in leg restraints. Did try to jump off that balcony that day. It was very high up. It was some apartments in the city where I used to live. Now, had it not been for my mum acting when she did, on both occasions that I've talked about, I don't believe I'd be here today. Now, there are 3 moments I talk about, and I can promise you, there are far more severe ones. Ones that are too graphic I don't want to talk about. Not yet. I'm not ready to share these stories. It's quite traumatic for me and my family, especially my mum having to watch her son go through this. But today I'm healed. Today I'm free. Today I don't experience any mental health problems. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, but I don't suffer from paranoia. I don't have any backlash from the drug-induced psychosis I once used to experience. Now, let me tell you something, people. I'm a man that hasn't got much fear. I've always been like that. I grew up a fighting lad, challenging lad, always first to have a say on something, always first in a crowd. But let me tell you, when you experience that drug-induced psychosis, you change, and you change quick. It creates a different person, for sure. It makes me feared. I can only explain it as being one of the most petrifying moments of my life. But granted, I kept taking the drugs. I would heal for so long, promised myself I'd never do it again. But sadly, every time I would go back to it. I'd go back to it. Drug-induced psychosis, people. You know this stuff you're putting in your body? Do you even know what's in it? It claims to be coke, it claims to be pills, it claims to be this, it claims to be that. Salt and sugar look the same. I want you lot to use my story, my journey, to not just inspire you about how I've turned my life around, but to also give you that insight as to how lucky I've been and how unlucky you might be. There's no promise you would make it out of all these things I've experienced. I've lost so many friends throughout the years. Multiple friends. I reckon over 50 friends. Due to overdoses, due to acting on drug-induced psychosis episodes. Psychotic episodes, should I say. Please, people, understand that when these drugs start being a problem, when you start experiencing that first little hint of paranoia, it only gets worse. I would love to be able to come on here and just say to you all, please don't ever take drugs. Keep away from them. But we rebel and we do things we're told not to do. It's not my way of challenging my awareness and my support to people, because I know people are going to take it. People are going to learn the hard way. But my way would be, is to say, if you have a chance to get out now and you understand what I'm talking about and you've experienced something, maybe a very small fraction on the scale of what I've experienced and talked about. And bear in mind, I've only told you about 3 things. Like I did say, some things are far too more severe for me to talk about on these channels. And some things I'm not ready to talk about because they're brutal. My advice to you all is to step in the right direction and break free from that life you're living. Don't lose your life to this fucking shit. Go on and live a happy, normal life. Free from active addiction. Free from mental health problems. Mental health matters, people. Now, I am going to make a statement here. I believe a lot of mental health problems are created from drugs. Now, we all use and turn to drugs for many different ways. Some for confidence, some for a good time, some to block out things that are happening. Some for, past trauma, whatever your reasons. But to my knowledge and my experience, nearly a 40-year-old man, all the endings are the same. Jails, institutions, or death. Thanks for listening, man. Pack it in.